Oh my God.
We're here.
We're here
Finally.
after all these months. Finally. Look at this
Me
place.
siento como que en la nueva casita. Look at the
I'm so happy. I'm so
It's a new
excited.
home.
Thank you. Sister, how many years we've been doing this?
Like 15, 13. I don't know. 13 going on 30.
I'm excited because now we get to talk about different things
Yes.
from love, relationships, motherhood.
Motherhood.
I mean, anything
everything.
is, valid and unfiltered. I'm excited. And
Exactly,
today's
claro que sí.
guest is so amazing. But we have to do a show.
Yep.
Let's do this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pink Cafe Unfiltered. I am Natalia, and I'm so, so excited to welcome you to our new home.
Yes, and I'm Caro, and this is a new era, a new home of Pink Cafe. We're going to be having conversations like no other before. And I cannot wait to introduce our guests today.
Oh my God, I'm so excited because all those subjects are the ones that I'm going deeper to in my own personal life. So I just get here and just like have cafecito and talk to our friends.
That's
and
right.
Today's guest happens to know a lot about love, finding the love of your life. How do you do that? I want to know more.
Allow us to introduce our beautiful guest and our friend, Regina Carrot. Bienvenida, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, thank you for having me.
Of course, we're super excited. Thank you for coming to our new casa, to our new home, new
this
era.
is beautiful, amazing, and also
Cool.
It's so exciting, and also because we've known each other for a few years now. I think also Carolina and I met in New York. It
Yeah,
was like
when I was at People.
2018 something, and then we started meeting I think 2 years ago here in LA, right? So I'm excited because I think that nowadays more people need to know how to fall in love with themselves first.
Exactly.
So that you can then find the love of your life.
I know. Yeah. And I love that for a long time, we have been so focused on promoting our careers and promoting like what I do. But now we're ready to talk about who we are. Like, I want to know you deeper and deeper. I know that you have your tech talk and you are a motivational speaker, you are an author and everything, but now we're getting ready to, to go a little bit deeper. And we love a lot of the topics that you also talk about. And, since you started in YouTube, there's something really that stood out to me from your TED Talk that you said that someone wrote you a message that said that you saved their life after they heard one of your messages or one of your videos, so that speaks a lot about the mission that you have.
You are saving lives with your purpose and with your message. How does that feel?
That feels like a big responsibility because when you're a life coach, you have that responsibility to help others, not only through words, but through like tools and life events. In my personal events that I had in my life happen, I was always like this young girl who was like brought up in a Mexican family in Monterrey where I'm from like divorced parents, which I know that obviously here in America and in Latin America, more than 50% people go through that. And I always thought that I didn't deserve love. So being sort of broken in the inside, that started to help me like understand what I need to heal. That's why I started on YouTube doing all of these videos. And I remember that message that came in from a follower, a carrotino, like Regina Carrot, that he said that because he saw a video called if you ever felt fear, watch this video. And I talk about the fear of like being yourself, becoming yourself like nowadays. So I'm happy to like show people those tools and tell them that it's not too late to love yourself. RuPaul always said, if you don't love yourself, how is anybody else going to love you, right? So I started to work on myself. There's actually this, I don't know if you've heard of kintsugi. Have you heard of kintsugi?
No.
It's like this Japanese technique where they say that if you have like a flower vase, it's ceramic, and when it gets broken, well, over there in Japan, they start like putting all the pieces together with gold and with silver, and that makes the piece more beautiful because it was broken. So what it tells you that in your life, you have to go through things, you have to shatter yourself. I mean, you're not going to be perfect. You're like this flower vase, and all these golden pieces are going to like put you together. Maybe those golden pieces are like you guys with this beautiful podcast, the sisterhood that you have. Maybe it's getting a new friend in the city. It's getting like the job you always wanted to. So it's putting yourself out there, taking action.
Yeah, and that is the reason why we wanted to do a revamp, of the podcast, because we're like, you know what, I think we're missing out, from this important stuff, like we have told, because we have done the work in ourselves, and like, you have to love yourself, and then we tell our friends, but you have to love yourself before you find somebody, before this or that, and they're like, how do you do that? Where do I even start? Even Carolina used to ask me too, like, how do you do that? Because I maybe did it first, or the healing process, and these are questions that we would love answers to from an expert, because I've done my own work with my own life coach, but each journey is different. It's like, why do you have to love yourself first before you actually let in somebody that is not toxic,
of course,
into your life, so that you can attract the right person?
I think that if I could put it down like in 3 basic points, the first one would be, first of all, get to know what you don't like. It's really important, like when you're in a relationship, even with friends, what are those things that you are not going to accept, those non-negotiables?
Nice.
Like when you're younger, you're always like, bueno, tal vez no es tan malo, tal vez ella no es tan tóxica. He's gonna change.
Él va a cambiar después.
No. Every time like you see somebody with potential, like don't go there, don't fall in love there. You're not gonna fix them. You're not gonna save them. Sometimes we love being like the savior. I remember talking to my mom, and she's always saving people. I don't know, Nat or Caro, if you sometimes happen to identify with that. It's like you tend to like, because that's your love language. Like I can save them, so I can save myself. No. Okay, potential is not reality. So first of all, know what you don't want. Second of all, you have to also surround yourself with the correct people. Sometimes the incorrect people in your life are like the toxic people. Like sometimes it's family. I know that it's not your case.
That's a big one.
Sometimes, and it's not my case, but la suegra for some people, la cuñada, it happens.
Even a friend, we have sometimes friendships that are, a little too clingy or a little too toxic, and it also affects you.
Yes, I remember having a friend that for my whole life, when I was little, right now I'm 35 years old, and I mean, I really like her, and I feel very fond of her, but she's always like bringing the negative side of myself. Wow. And that emotional baggage that some people think that you're a garbage can, okay? Like an emotional garbage can. So as a life coach, we always see that when we say people imagine that are putting like all their feelings inside of you, like, oh, I had a bad day. That's fine. Everybody goes through that. Oh, I'm going through this and that and that. And that starts building on you, because also life coaches or even people, we even have to go to therapy ourselves. Yeah. Even if we're consulting or we're with other people.
So other people's things don't affect you.
So that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the correct people. So think of it as this simple 5 people rule, that you have to put people that multiply and not divide you, that add and don't subtract to your life. And those people are key. For example, right now in my life, I see, okay, Ruben, my husband, my daughter Regina, she's 2 years old, okay. My mother, who's a big part, also being like an immigrant here in the US, like you always have like longing for family that's not here. My sister and my friend Kati. Basically, it's that. Of course, I have other people around, but it wasn't always like that. I mean, it's difficult because also when you're a motivator and when you're trying to help people, you have a lot of people that are toxic coming in. So
you have to protect your energy.
Protect yourself. Yeah. That's why the first step is knowing what you don't want. The second step is knowing about the 5 people that you have to surround yourself with. And the third one is being selfish with yourself. Like putting yourself first. And imagine one exercise that I would recommend you guys is going on a date with yourself. You always go out with...
I've been doing that a lot for the
Really?
last
I'm tired.
I have no choice.
But I had to learn a lot about that. Self-love first. Aquí, full transparency. I was single for about 10 years of my life. When I was in New York, I was single throughout the whole time. But
it's a hard city, right?
It's a hard city. I was so focused on work too. I was living, New York City journalist life. I loved it. But also I always felt lonely. As much as like the city is so busy and you're always, you always have someone next to you. I was longing for love. I really wanted a connection, a relationship, but I was year after year just looking for it. And I was looking in the wrong places, but because I hadn't looked inside myself. Wow. I had to first learn how to love myself, how to understand what I wanted, what I didn't want, what was important to me. And, that also shows a lot, or like kind of what you give, you attract, or what you think you attract. And I was attracting all the wrong people because I wasn't ready myself to be in a relationship, But then once I learned that, and I went through coaches to therapy for years and years, and it wasn't until I realized like, oh, el amor starts with el amor propio, with self-love, and then I attracted all of a sudden, yeah. I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to go back to dating, and then all of a sudden in 2 years, my life switched, like flipped upside down in the most positive way. I met the love of my life. I have a baby now.
Oh, he's
and
beautiful.
It's like, oh, my gordito. So it's like, yeah, and you never know. And that also comes with forgiveness, which is a topic that you also talk about a lot. Forgiveness of yourself and of others too, right?
That's really good, yeah. And then picking up with that, you said also something about trying to change the other person, not only your partner. I think I tried to change Carolina, and it didn't work. Then I tried to change my ex-husband. It didn't work. Now I am single, so it's fine. But I thought that I had done the work, and because I was loving myself, I was putting myself first. I was being very jealous of my time and my boundaries until a certain point. But after a while, things kind of like fell through the cracks. And then I'm like, no. If he changes, everything changes. Or like I started trying to change people, and then I had to be called out of like, no. No tienes la razón. Tienes que trabajar en ti mismo, es que te está pasando todo esto. Claro, I did like a journey like maybe 10 years ago, and then I healed, and then I found myself, and then I found, love at the moment. 10 years went by, and I thought it was working within me, and I wasn't, so I was trying to change people.
Yes.
And then that's where everything
that
changed.
Normally happens, that I think that we do the work, we put in the work, that we think we're okay, and then suddenly like one lesson that I had in life was that, people don't change unless they want to change themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's not at your time or your moment.
Yep.
It's at like when the other person wants to. And if they never want to change, like some people are.
What do you do in those cases? If they don't, like you're changing, you're leading by example, you're not telling them to change, you're doing the work, you're showing up. They don't want to change, and even if you don't tell, like, do you just like leave or like accept it?
Normally, what I would suggest and practice is deadlines. I just talked to a friend like literally a week ago that's going through something similar, and I was like, deadlines. You have to put a deadline for yourself, like how much are you gonna last? Because that person isn't gonna change. So for yourself, for your self-respect, because for two people to fight and for two people to maybe be in disagreement, there has to be, you're allowing stuff. You're allowing them for them to treat you badly. It's because he treated me badly. But why are you allowing that? Because you think you also like want to save the person. Maybe there's a 1% chance. Stop trying to analyze the situation. It's clear. It's black or white. It is what it is. And it's your decision to go. But normally I understand. It's difficult because you don't want to go. There's feelings involved.
So you know what? That's so true. That speaks to me. I just had this thought of sometimes we try to fix in others that what we haven't fixed in ourselves, or that also comes with a lot of trauma or experiences that we've had in the past, or I've met a friend who went through something, and she in her past had issues with her father. Now her relationship with her loved one was kind of like simulating what she had gone through with her dad. And, she was kind of bringing all that baggage without even knowing.
Es como el patrón ¿verdad? O sea, it's the same pattern that you're following, but you can still like cut that pattern, but start making decisions. I was talking to the other day to one of my students about self-love, and they said like, I'm so frustrated with my life. I mean, nothing changes. They're in a situation, an economic situation and a love situation. And I was like, you have to start making decisions. Nobody, like Mel Robbins says, nobody's going to come save you.
Yep.
Nobody.
Nobody's coming.
That's
Nobody's coming.
Nobody's coming. I mean, you got to make a decision. Decisions are hard. Just that if not, you're going to stay parada, inmovilizada. And I think that's something I learned in life is that I make decisions. Sometimes they're tough decisions. Sometimes it doesn't go the way I want it to. Sometimes it does. I remember that one decision that I don't regret, one of my exes, thank God, I didn't like park over there. But, actually, I remember that he actually didn't found his career. He was a doctor, he was a lawyer, he was a scientist. I mean, he hadn't found himself, and that's why he cheated on me. And I thought that maybe I could help him find his passion. Well, he's on his own right now. And I'm like, thank God that I didn't park there. Sometimes we park our heart with people that don't even know where they are.
It's true.
Parking your heart.
That is true.
That's true. Parking your heart. I love that.
I like that. Yeah. I think we got, ¿cómo se dice? Como que cuidas tu corazón.
Guard our heart.
You guard your heart. But sometimes what happened to me with that is that I basically just went numb. Like, I don't want to feel, I don't care, I don't want to let anybody in. Like, I was just like congelado. Like, there's no feelings, I don't want to feel, I don't care, I didn't care. And I'm still trying to get out of that because I was in so much denial of like, why this happened, why that happened. But I think that, now you have to be careful, like where do you want to park your heart, who do you want to let in and everything. But I think the numbness is not a good idea either.
Yes.
To go too far.
I think that's the worst, and that happens a lot in situations because then you say, well, if nobody's going to love me the way that I am going to love others, then I'd rather not have it at all. But there's a risk. That's part of life. That's part of love. It's a risk. Like sometimes you lose, but then all that emptiness that you're feeling maybe right now is going to be compensated like further on in life. It's like the price you pay for loving someone. That's exactly what happens with grief, right? When you lose somebody, and that grief is the price you pay for having them and for being around the person. It's the same thing. So you're going through like this sort of grief because it's a loss. It's a loss of your identity, of the dream of who you were with the other person, and it's okay.
It's a disconnect and everything,
and it's okay. You're still in time. If you're going through this and you're seeing us or hearing us, I think that you should start doing, especially what we said, these 3 things: knowing what you don't want, surrounding yourself with the correct people, and also going on a date with yourself. Because
¿sabes qué me gusta decir? A mí me gusta también echarte flores. Yo creo que voy a hacer un segmento que échate flores a ti mismo, you know, like, how would you say that? No sé, I don't even know how to translate that. Échate flores, like that saying, it's like, how do you talk to yourself? How do you, maybe you can, we can wrap it up with that. Like, what is that kind of like nurturing self-love that you can, talk to yourself in the mirror, that you can kind of like to get you out of a funk or of, of a breakup of a relationship. I'm sure it's like a process, but maybe like a quick thing. What would be
something quick that I would recommend everybody would be practicing gratitude. Of course, you've heard that. It's something like, oh yes, I've heard that. But I always do, actually, it's part of a journal. I have like 100 days to fall in love with yourself. You can try for 100 days. Normally they say 21 because it's when you change habits.
Yeah.
But 100 days, 3 months, you'll do it every day. You wake up, you start doing 3 things that you are grateful for, like your health, your family. I have a job. I have 2 legs. I'm walking. Like,
yes,
those are
be grateful for what you have and what for you don't have, like, and not complain for what you don't have.
Yeah, the law of attraction works like that. When you are in a place of gratitude, then you're going to attract that. When you're always attracting the negative or what you don't have or the emptiness, that's what you're going to get.
Wow.
William Walker said that in the law of attraction. So I recommend that every day, 3 minutes or throughout the day, in the morning, in the evening, and at night, You can practice this, and that's going to change your whole life.
Amazing, amazing. Regina, this is amazing information. I'm going to give you a call because I need your
Cafecito.
Cafecitos weekly, please.
But tell us a little bit about your podcast. We have to go. Just quickly tell us about your podcast. Where can people listen to you too, and where can they find you?
Thank you. You can find me on social media and everywhere at reginacarrot.com, and also my podcast Indomables everywhere.
Indomables. Sorry, we had to say it.
I also am gonna have you guys as guests when we record here in LA.
I would love that.
Really happy. Las Indomables, hermanas
Las
Indomables.
Now we have a new home where you can record.
This is beautiful. Thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you guys. I mean, and also for the opportunity of giving me, of also being in this English space and everything. So thank you for believing in me. And you always have a friend here, Pinca Fresa.
Same here. Pinca Fresa, me encanta eso. Tú eres Pinca Fresa. I love that. Thank you, Regina, for being here with us.
Thank you so much.